The next time we do this, the next time I see you, Donald Trump will be president. The Trump team should burn sage before they take over on Monday at the White House to get rid of the woke. But I hope you hold your head a little bit higher this weekend, because you were right. And what we witnessed in November as a country was a lot of things. Donald Trump won more than 300 electoral votes. He won the popular vote. He won all the battleground states, something we haven't seen a Republican do in 20 years. But Donald Trump also won the battle for the soul of this country.
All of this was made possible by all of you, each and every one of you. And again, I can't thank each and every one of you enough. This can be the most transformational presidency in 100 years. There will be thousands upon thousands of loyal Donald Trump supporters like you in D.C. celebrating what is a new day in America that would have been, would not have been possible without all of your hard work, your effort, your perseverance. And many of you watching tonight, you have stuck with Donald Trump through thick and thin.
The Democratic Party clearly does not get who the American people are anymore, and I've said this for weeks. But what we experienced over the last 4 years was not normal. Like the human oddities at the circus, Tom Thumb, the bearded lady, the Siamese twins, the four-legged woman. This was all normal, we were told, as men started playing women's sports and using women's bathrooms. You're a racist if you disagree, we were told. It's normal for men to dress like women. What are you, a racist? Do you have a problem with trans people? What are you, a transphobe? Trans is normal. Trans is mainstream, we were told. In the spring of 2021, our historic pick, Mayor Pete, had the Secret Service drive him almost to the White House, but they stopped a few blocks shy. Then a Secret Service agent took out Mayor Pete's big heavy bike out of that SUV, and Mayor Pete put on his helmet with stickers on it, and he biked the rest of the way to work, so the press would see how green our transportation secretary was. All the cameras took pictures, and the legacy media absolutely loved it. That's their Mayor Pete. This is your Mayor Pete, the one with the We the People tattoo on his arm. Kamala was picked as Joe's running mate because she was the best person for the job, we were all told. Not because Joe Biden made a pledge that he would run with a woman, and definitely not because he was pressured to run with a black woman. That had nothing to do with it. Kamala is a historic vice president. We were told that repeatedly. And they actually thought that this woman was ready to be president.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Americans were told the border was secure and safe. And as Americans started getting raped and murdered, nothing to see here, we were told, as millions of people that have nothing in common with any of you poured across our southern border. Crime is down, we were told. Immigration is who we are. Fundamentally, Joe Biden would say.
Actually, crime is down. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. Look, let's get something in mind about the border. When I became president, the numbers came way down.
The funniest part about all of this is that Democrats wanted this. They wanted to run against Donald Trump. They wanted Donald Trump to be the candidate. And what Donald Trump did in November, his political resurrection, is something we've never seen happen before. The man the media called Hitler cobbled together a coalition new to American politics: whites, blacks, Hispanics, Jews, the young, the old, independents. The Republican Party is now officially the party of the working class. While over on the other side, the Democratic Party right now is an empty, hollowed out husk, a shell of its former self, a party of coastal elites. It's the party of people who stand for absolutely nothing. And what happened in November was a fundamental rejection of everything they stand for, of leftism, of woke politics. What happened in November was also a complete and total repudiation of the legacy media, of CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC. The November election confirmed what a lot of people have been feeling for a long time, that this movement is real. And they are completely out of touch with you, the American people. And now, over the next 4 years, the power of the independent media will continue to grow, and the power of the legacy media will never be the same again.
Ultimately, after years of hysteria, dishonesty, woke politics, eco-socialism, failure, the weaponization of government, this is what the Democrats, frankly, have earned, and this is what they deserve. I hope they can use this moment to fix what's broken in their own party. It would be nice to have a two-party system, but not a radical leftist system, one that would create a cradle-to-grave, womb-to-the-tomb, new Green Deal society with wide-open borders without any vetting that offers free taxpayer-funded sex change operations.
If you've ever heard of Operation Mockingbird, it was a CIA program in the 1950s where the CIA manipulated the news across the country. It turns out the media had official relationships with people at the CIA to carefully control the narrative, control what you heard. And it remained a secret for 25 years. It was much easier back then. There was no internet, there was no social media, and no independent media like Newsmax. Fast forward 70 years, and the media in this country largely exists to parrot whatever's good for the Democratic Party. We've seen that. And things were going great until along came Donald Trump. And in 2020, Democrats in the media thought they won. They thought Joe Biden's win in 2020 was a correction. They thought Donald Trump was the aberration, but they were wrong. It turns out that Joe Biden was the aberration, and because of the choices they all made over the last 4 years, so the American people don't like liars. That PSYOP failed. And as the nation gets ready for the future, it's important that we never forget the wrongs of the last 4 years. Take a look.
And I don't know why Donald Trump can vomit racism and his supporters clap.
So none of it worked. And on November the 5th, we witnessed the greatest political comeback in American history, bar none, a historic moment, but not for the obvious reasons. Not because Donald Trump won the popular vote in all the battleground states and the Electoral College, not because he beat Hillary and Joe and Kamala. He beat the media. He beat the legacy media to the point where once dominant forces in the media, people and networks, are now on the verge of extinction. He beat them all, who for years made the conscious decision to cover up for this man.
Joe Biden has vision, he has knowledge, he has a strategic thinker.
Joe Biden, what a visionary, what a strategic thinker.
But I know what I do know.
We were told, sharp, cogent. None of it was true. It was never true, and no one ever apologized for it. But you knew. America knew all along. And they didn't like that. For decades, so many of us thought that the news that we were all getting was just that it was news, but it wasn't. The legacy media after the election has tanked. Ratings at some of the other networks have collapsed completely, to the point where the Food Network was beating people making $25 million a year, meaning Anderson Cooper was losing to broccoli. I mean that literally. All of these networks rolled the dice and gambled while they laughed at you and laughed at MAGA. As long as Kamala wins, we're going to be fine. That's what they thought, but Kamala lost. And they lost too. Democrats did everything in their power to prevent Donald Trump from ever getting back to the White House again. It started with lawfare. We saw the January 6th committee. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to take him off the ballot. They tried to put him in jail. They raided his house. And when that didn't work, they tried to kill him. They called him a racist, a fascist, a Nazi. And all the while, the American people sat back and observed and took notes. This is all normal, we were told, over and over. But none of it was. And Joe Biden's going to leave the White House much like he came in, hiding from the American people. In 2020, we were all told that Joe Biden couldn't campaign because of COVID-19, but now we all know the truth. The truth is out. Joe couldn't do any of it because Joe's got dementia. And so I'd like to say goodbye one last time to all of our friends. Hunter, goodbye. To the woman that made us all call her a doctor for 4 years, goodbye. Goodbye, Karine. Goodbye, Mayor Pete. Goodbye, Alejandro. And Anthony, goodbye. Kamala and Dougie, goodbye. Goodbye, Lloyd Austin. Goodbye, Merrick Garland. But most of all, more than anything else and anyone else in the White House right now, goodbye, Joe Biden. And goodbye to one of the darkest chapters ever in American history, because on Monday at 12:01 p.m., the light officially returns.